You're listening to The Blunt Truth. Unscripted, uncensored, unwoke. Get ready to challenge everything.
Welcome to episode 9 of The Blunt Truth, here with a very dear and treasured friend of mine, Bryan Justice. What's up, Bryan?
What up, Steven?
Not much, just very excited to dive into all the amazing science around this topic. You are the person that got me into urine therapy. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, urine therapy. I've heard people call it urine therapy, recycling. When I first came upon, I was like recycling, looping, all these terms I heard. And when you hear the word urine, it just sounds disgusting because I was the same way. I was like, are you serious? You telling me to drink my own waste product? And sure enough, I did the research and said, wait a minute, there's something to this. I found the John Armstrong book, The Water of Life. And then I saw the DeMar Tantra. And then I heard a couple people, Dr. Jubb, Dr. Sadie. And I was like, wait a minute. So when I went in, did the research, I said, okay. So I dropped a little bit in my orange juice, or my lemon juice rather, and said, okay. But I had an instantaneous clarity that I never heard or felt before. And when that happened, I said, okay, there's something to this. And I went bananas. I did not turn back. In 2006.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you said a lot of interesting things there. You know, I'll share my story. Just wanted to say though, I love mixing it with orange juice or lemon juice because intuitively I mix a lot of things with citrus, any kind of supplement or herbs or even tea. Sometimes I'll just add lemon juice to it because that makes a lot of things work better. I find like more effective. Also, I need to get with you on the spelling of some of those names just to make sure I properly cite and link all these amazing people for you. My story is, so you are the person that got me into it. I will say I was super on the fence. There's a website called awhale.to that has a compilation of all different urine therapy research, like independent manuscripts and case studies. A lot of them were from India. A lot of them were from like the 1800s in the USA. And it seemed very ubiquitous, right? Like across times and cultures to where I logically just accepted that there's medicinal usage here, but I didn't really embody that or try it. I'll just kind of watch my pee stream with curiosity about what it might be able to do for me. And then one day we were chatting and you suggested the idea of using it like hand sanitizer. And I thought that was a really interesting thing. I did it. And a couple of times I'd wash my hands after, but then I noticed before even washing my hands that they already smelled like fresh and clean, like no trace of any scent. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So I was doing medicinal baths. So I started saving my pee for the day, adding it to the bath. And I noticed right away that I'd be super energized and revitalized and just have more energy as opposed to feeling like really sleepy and sluggish like I would normally after my long hot bath. So then you suggested if I wanted to drink it using the middle of the stream, which I did. And just like you said, I think a lot of people that do this have that moment of clarity, that feeling where it's just like almost cutting through the propaganda or something where you're just like, whoa, like this is legit. And I drank my pee at least every single day. I'll sometimes skip 1 or 2 pees a day, but if I don't drink the whole thing, I'll drink half of it. And let's talk about what's in it. Tell me your understanding of what's actually in it. Because I think that cuts through a lot of the fear as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So to start, it is probably the best water person can take in. You notice that when you drink the bottle of spring water, you have a little bit of trouble. It's like a gargle reaction, like drinking beer almost. But when you drink that, it's smooth. It just goes straight down. So you got 95% water. Then you got amino acids. You got albumin. You got a lot of N's, which are like beneficial proteins that the body can actually use. You got a lot of collagen products. You got all kinds of things that help restructure the tissue. So, and they are actually 3,000 to 4,000 things, and go beyond that because science doesn't know everything. But when you talk about quantum, everything is sort of on a quantum level of fixing. It's all in there, man. It's all in there, and it's able to fix things that we don't even know that that existed, or things that a baby. Because remember, a baby lived in its water for, I think, a majority of the time in the womb. So in essence, everybody did urine therapy. everybody came from a mother. So, couldn't avoid it.
That's so similar to what I wanted to share and what I was thinking. Structured water, right? Like water is a living crystal. There's so much research coming out now. There's Instagram accounts where people are just like imprinting water with anything and freezing it. And what's coming through is just out of control. I mean, this isn't just like Japanese scientists anymore. This is people using water every day and ridiculous things are happening. And so that means it knows everything about your body, basically. It's that imprinted. And it's also your exact body temperature. So it gets absorbed into the cells right away with zero ability or need to change temperature. The 2.5% of the other stuff. Yeah, dude, it's so weird because you name stuff that I didn't know was in there. I knew that melatonin, serotonin, vitamin D, enzymes, and yes, and I also knew stem cells from the fetal development because again, a baby is peeing in that womb over and over and over. That's where the term looping really, I call it looping too, especially if I'm like fasting from anything else. It's like really, it stays electric for 15 minutes. I understand. So like you're literally reabsorbing your electricity. And then the other 2.5% is like salts or types of urea salts. And anyone who's familiar with whether it's a modern salt laxative you get from Rite Aid or whether it's an Ayurvedic recipe, when you drink that salty solution, it's not going to go into your blood. It's going to kind of stay in the intestines and cleanse that area. So that convinced me that maybe this is not a waste product like my sweat, like my feces, like my hair, which really aren't waste products. It's all looping for nature. It's all becoming soil and hair can become bird's nest, But the point is, maybe this was actually for me and not to be flushed away, to be resold to me as various pharmaceutical compounds by these companies. So yeah, dude, the science of it is pretty clear, I think, and hard to deny.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I forgot about the urea, one of the most important dark parts. Because yeah, when you have, you have your tissue, so your blood drinks waste before it gets to the heart, and after it gets to the heart, it goes into the tissues. And the urea creates a cycle of recycling. So we loop internally because from the heart to the kidneys, the blood goes through a series of interactions and processes that cause it to the urea to go back into the body and do some cyclical work. But inside the kidney itself, and you got those loops. There's one called the loop of Henry that basically purifies. That's probably the best distiller out there. And I mean, we buy distilled water, which is good. I love distilled water, which is probably the best water to drink. But when you have something that is your own natural distiller, yeah, that's a pretty powerful thing right there. So yeah, just like you said, you got those ureas, those products that basically can regenerate you.
Yeah. That is so interesting that you refer to that internal looping because one thing I noticed, and I actually noticed it started happening before I even noticed it. And then I noticed it before I knew what it was, which is if I held my pee, once I started drinking my pee regularly, I got to a point where if I had to pee and I would hold it, the feeling would go away. And I would forget because it's not like your brain's going to be like, remember that you had to pee 10 minutes ago. So, but I then later learned about this thing where your bladder has a function where you mentioned a loop of Henry or something like that. The bladder has these functions where it can actually internally reabsorb the urine. And I'm like, whoa, that's what's been going on. I didn't know any of that extra information. So the urea gets reabsorbed as part of it for sure. And of course, that can not just work in the intestines, but in various parts once it gets in that way. That's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That opened up a huge wormhole for me too, because when we get into kidney function, you're talking about the body's electricity. And have you ever seen where I think those African girls used urine to create electricity because of the salts? It's a conductor. And how can anybody forget about the salts? I mean, the biosalts, the biological salt, basically all the salts on the astrological chart are inside of the urine. So, I mean, you could get really, we know somebody she's really into the astrology and she knows how to time her urine based on Mercury, which I'm Gemini. So she always calls me Gemini time and she'll let me know, I know you're a Taurus, right? I think you're a Taurus. So yeah, there's different salts that interplay. And believe it or not, when you talk about the kidney being able to recycle, let's say, okay, you have bile salts, you have the kidney salts. Well, this one is yellow because the yellow is how it removes itself from the blood and it looks like a plasma. And we're able to remove bile, but then we bring that bile in, it's restoring. And a lot of people think bile also is a waste product too. And that's why people get yellow because it's losing, the liver's losing power. So that yellow, the eyes get yellow. But if you bring it and restore, it's like attracts like, and it creates a healing effect. And you can restore your liver. You don't have to do all those oil liver cleanses, and you don't have to do a lot of those things because you're grounding took the most. I don't think people understand.
Right. And what you said is a really important point to make, which is this is not just some holistic health modality. This is not just like some fringe thing you can try. This is part of the body's fundamental functioning, to the point where once I started drinking my pee, I had a realization that every supplement, every food is not even properly absorbed or ingested, or their value isn't properly extracted, or it's not properly even able to detox fully. Anything you consume, you are supposed to consume the pee it creates. You know, if you eat a bunch of junk food and you have to urinate after, that's because your body is producing the antidote to what you just ate, and you'll feel 10 times better. And, you know, if you have a bowel movement in the toilet and you have to pee after, you can use that to, like a natural bidet, you can use that fluid to cleanse yourself. So the biofeedback with this one is huge. And you start paying attention to the timing, you know, just like in life, sometimes the timing of something means more than what it is. And you'll notice sometimes it's sour, sometimes it's salty, sometimes it's even sweet. It's literally hitting different organs at different times. And it's a tremendous, complete higher science. And I love what you said about salt, because alchemy totally ties into alchemy. I remember seeing these tables of the astrological signs, like everything, you know, the essential oils, like the types of crystals, stones, like gods, and then salts. And totally, right? Because if you're going to talk personalized medicine, you don't even have to learn astrology. You don't have to learn these things. Just drink your pee.
Your body is re-editing itself, whether we don't do it, because even aging is an education, folks. You know, it can even not age. And you can even, like, cancer is actually, as much as I don't like the word cancer, because, you know, our friends like to use that as the answer to basically World War VII or whatever, bomb the body with chemotherapy, but it's actually a cure for something. And now on the opposite of that, the lungs may create a pneumonia-like thing. But you have so many things going on in the body that you're able to offset everything. In totality, we're able to, based on habit and depending on urgency, you don't need the astrology, like you said. If you're learning your body, you're going to do a course. I like to take the word course, education course, and the word courses in, you know, course, big tissue, right, vascular tissue. And you talk about a medium of travel, the more alkaline it gets, which is aging it, you can age it. And now you have something that could travel in that alkaline terrain. So now you're getting to those organs like the liver, the kidney, the thyroid, the inner body. You're affecting your sleep. You can soak in it, and that's affecting your skin quality. With your skin, your kidney is just another liver. So it's easy to, you know, turn all that around. And I would suggest people do it at nighttime. You do it at nighttime. You don't have to worry about those weird smells, but, you know, I don't get those smells. Follow a pretty positive diet and you're able to, you know, you smell like a baby, you know. And like you said, you'll get those different tastes. You'll get the sweet, sour.
I eat heavy.
Yeah.
I'll just say that. I do eat heavy.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's okay. So, you know, it doesn't matter what you eat. Popular opinion is, you know, you should, it's just like working out. People say when you work out, you have to eat these proteins, you have to do this. No, you don't. You just have to work out. Your body's going to figure it out. But the worse you eat, the longer it's going to take. It's like doing somersaults back to the source. The same thing with eating. You're going to eat fruit and see it come out really clean. You eat meat, it's going to take a little while, but you'll get it. Because guess what? The meat ate something that was pretty popping, like greens. It ate some pretty structured, and it knows how to structure stuff. So I don't knock any diet. It's a matter of, can you get back to that source work so where you are clean? Just it's a timing thing again. And we eat a lot. We eat a lot. You have supermarkets set up so we eat a lot. Go to the supermarket. I mean, years ago, I was like, damn, why do you gotta have so many loaves in that bread? And why do we have to go to Costco or Sam's Club or BJ's and buy such a gross pack of stuff? Because they want us to consume too much. The same rate you go to a farm, it's really hard work. You're a farmer, you got a lot of work, so you need a community to share different food sources so y'all can pick the best of the best. But, it's so easy to overconsume. And then the emotional aspect of it. You think about, okay, I got to go back to what you said about, behavior and habits. Your nerves, based on, like light, and it's called a prism. It squeezes out different colors based on how the light presents itself. So, that creates the right electricity, and we're on the light, we're in the spotlights all the time. So as we move, our body is doing electric things. So it's bigger than food. The over expenditure or need for electricity means that our nerves are going to squeeze something out. Now I'm going to take it to another level, right? A snake bite. When somebody gets bitten by a snake, I was watching an episode of Friends and they got bitten by some sort of, I think it was a jellyfish. So it's the same thing. Now your body is squeezing out. It's choking. Your nerves are choking. So your blood is going to react differently. And then by reintroducing the pee, it's going under the radar.
Electrically choking because they breathe electricity. Yeah. Okay. And food is like an insulator that prevents that flow of electricity and numbs us.
You got it. And look at how we solve problems. I could be stressed out at working on something, like you're working on a podcast or something. And, some people, they'll turn to food. But if you meditate on it, maybe drink some water, your body's going to get stronger, quicker.
And I just thought of a crazy example that ties in so nicely. There are Pentecostal churches in Appalachia across the United States that follow a verse. Don't quote me. I think it's in Mark, a verse about holding poisonous snakes if you're a true believer and not being harmed. And you can look them up on YouTube, and they're kind of made fun of. They're made to look like silly rednecks as much as they can. But these folks have a church full of poisonous snakes. And when it's time to praise, they're all literally holding these like rattlesnakes and diamondbacks up, like almost ceremonially dancing with them. And these people have been bitten sometimes back to back by rattlers, like in their chest and arms and stuff. And they're still there. And these are old people. And so what you said about choking out the electricity, well, when they're at a church and they're so connected to Heavenly Father and Creator, which is that electrical component, flooding them with that electricity, then that's like natural anti-venom. It can't choke. So that's like what the scripture's referring to is, bro, that's a document if I've ever heard of one.
You're going to make me go back and read the Gospel of Mark, man. But yeah, and when they set up these churches in Appalachia and everywhere, it's on water. So your water, the holy water, you have to be in tune with the flowing water of the church. You're on top of this flow. And the snake is that representation of the inner body. We have living life that swells within us. So we got to be in tune or else we're going to get bitten. But at the same rate, people don't get bitten because they are calm. It's the same thing with bees. You are in tune and relaxed and able to, handle. They sense nervousness, and nervousness is the same thing. Anxiety and these when we're in a very anxiety-driven world anyway. So moving through the lights, the key is just to be calm as you can and just, stay hydrated, whichever way you can, and just keep moving. And then stop when you need to stop. It's pretty busy out here, but yeah, that's a powerful example right there, Stephen.
Yeah, there's even something to be said about being at peace with death. Got to accept death to a certain level to be able to do that. And something else about urine therapy, to loop it back in, no pun intended, is I have a theory that a person's relationship with their urine or oran, shibambu, living waters, pee, whatever you might say, their relationship with it could be a hologram of their relationship with the divine spark within them, or that heavenly, divine, godly component that we all have inside of us. which I thought was really interesting because, we're all programmed to hate ourselves. A lot of us are programmed to hate religion, hate God, become atheists, and just hate divinity and goodness and righteousness in general. And that ties into being so grossed out and disgusted by pee, I think.
Wow. I like that because, you're going to make me watch this again because, it ties into like us doing shadow work. And I think the fourth state of matter is plasma, right? So people put their pee outside. And when they put their pee outside, it channels the biosphere. Because guess what? For all our lives, we've cut our hair, we've blown our nose, we peed, we've shitted, we've washed ourselves. So we're out there. So this is my own hypothesis. When we put that pee outside or we have that relationship with that pee, we are rechanneling. This is another level of magnetism. We're drawing ourselves back to us. We're creating that's creating holism right there because we're bringing ourselves back. And you notice the pee will take on extra levels of alkalinity. You got people that'll go up to 11.0 with their pee if they measure it. By putting that outside, setting that somewhere, there's a whole invisible layer. We got this whole hydrosphere where the body's able to draw in any urea and those components inside. And, don't put a magnet under it. Don't do that. Put a magnet under it. It's going to work even faster, bro. But yeah.
Dude, yeah, no, for sure. I have no doubt that all these minerals and compounds we're talking about go into the soil just on a purely physical level. And then if you're growing plants or you're eating what naturally grows, as we are very clearly meant to do on the land that we live upon, then we be getting a lot of that. And as far as magnetism, what I tell people, if they're like super truly grossed out and would never try it, I tell them at least pee outside, take some deep breaths while you're doing it because, that live electrical anchor from the root into Mother Earth is literally like a divine marriage of heaven and earth. And so much magnetism comes up right into the root directly when you do those breaths. And I mean, it feels really good. Like a lot of people just prefer peeing outside because it just in some abstract way feels good somatically, which I think is magnetism. It's the feeling of getting fresh magnetism into your body. And so totally, yeah, I'm on board with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Somatic, returning to the origin. Man. Like, I guess that's that good chronic breathing and going outside and even just standing on a tree limb or standing on the ground, breathing, you get that next level of calmness to you. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. You have a Facebook group that is one of the largest and most active, I think, about urine therapy. Would you like to talk about that for a second?
Oh yeah. The fractal, it's crazy. I don't remember the name. I just named it off the cuff, but it has to do with fractal water.
Fractal reflections of urine therapy.
I know that one. Yes. Thank you, man. We talk a lot of stuff, man. Like if you got people building about, seeing their own auras and being able to insight, orbs and folks talking about, and there's a lot of publishers in there dropping their material. But yeah, we go into the nitty gritty, man. I'm a science head sort of. So, I welcome, all sorts of insights and thoughts and new people, it's like school, you have grades, kindergarten through PhD. So, everybody's welcome. It's always, important to share an insight. And we do periodic journeys like 1-day fasts and exercise because I'm big on exercise. So we do that too. Meditating, getting away from food, getting into certain food, getting into like mental challenges. I mean, all of it, I think that, along with, some of the other people that have motivated me because I didn't get in Facebook until actually a woman named Shanga Sharanga. I think her name was Monica. Redhead woman from Peru.
I know her. Yeah, she's incredible. Yeah. She's incredible.
Yeah, she's 50 years old this year, and she looks 24 or something.
Yep. She literally.
She told me, we got this group. She introduced me to Anthony Norton Weber. I spoke to him and was like, "Oh, he's doing a really good thing." He's called me Doc. Everybody's called me Doc. We built that group, and so I came after that group that broke it down because it was sort of infiltrated, and it gave me the ambition to create my own groups. Is talk about this stuff that's so powerful. And the best part of it is it's free. So once we tap into free, I don't believe anybody should be buying anything. It's okay to charge for services and teaching, but I believe it's free. So I'm not going to charge a thing. would rather the world get on board because it's a much better place when people are in tune with their own selves, and how you represent yourself and take care of yourself is how you will treat others, pillars of the community.
Absolutely. And I've been in that group for a number of years. And whenever I have a cool idea or an insight or a question, it's been so well received. It's been a resource to me. I mean, the first time I aged my pee, that group was my resource. So it's definitely cool. On my non-negotiable list for my future wife, I have drinks her pee, because I've dated women who don't while I do. And I have to like brush my teeth every time I drink it. And it's just way more than that. Like you're saying, there's just a fundamental understanding of what sustainability means and like how magical God's design truly is, and all kinds of other things that you naturally learn it's not even about embracing the practice. It's about undoing that programming, right? Because the programming that your pee is dirty and that it's a waste product and that you're crazy and dangerous for even trying it, that's almost a spiritual IQ test to get past. So for me, it became very important. So I get you, man.
Yeah.
Any last words before we kick it back? We've been talking for more than half an hour. That's long for this show, but it was a dense one, dude. Lots of cool back and forth.
Cool. Well, I say, know thyself. And then, upon knowing thyself, be open to the possibilities, because it's all about improvement. It's all about how you project to the world. And we're in an electrical universe, and, tapping into your light, your inner light shows when the lights are on. That's all I got.
Yeah, man. It absolutely shows. And you are a beacon of glowing light, my brother. It's been a real honor. It's been a blessing. It's been way beyond my awesome expectations. So I'm super stoked for this one to come out. Take care, bro.
You too, bro. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to The Blunt Truth with Stephen and Dougie. Enjoy the conversation. Join us every Wednesday for more unfiltered discussions. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Your support keeps the truth coming. Elevate your journey. Connect with us on social media at blunttruthpodcast.com. Until next time, be kind, keep growing, and remember, knowledge is infinite.